I was so comfortable in Dallas. But that's the thing is comfort is scary because I looked at my life, I looked at myself spiritually, and I was like, I'm not growing here. I just don't want anyone to think that I was forced to move here. Like that's just ridiculous. And when again, you start to feel maybe there's a stirring in your spirit of like, is there more? There probably is. So I kind of want to talk about pregnancy a little bit because I share a lot online, but I haven't really shared, the rawness of what's been going on. Something that I think is a little toxic online that I've noticed quite a bit is that you almost feel like you're not able to either complain or have a certain feeling because someone just dismisses you and just is like, it doesn't matter, you're growing a child, so shut up. Don't let the world and society and social media scare you out of something that could be the biggest blessing of your life. And this is something I want you to pray about. When you move to a new city or when you are quote unquote starting over, pray before you go that God is going to prepare the way for you and open doors for you and go before you. What's up, guys, and welcome to Happy and Healthy. I am your host, Jeanine Amapola Ward. And if you are listening on a Tuesday, happy Tuesday. I hope it is the happiest Tuesday for you guys. If you are new here, I hope you will return. This is a Christian podcast, and I am the host, but my husband does come on quite a bit. And I am currently 30 weeks pregnant. So pretty crazy. And I'll share more updates on that later. And I just want to sit down and kind of catch up with you guys and kind of just talk about what's been going on in life and just some updates, some things that you guys are, usually wondering about. And we'll kind of just hang out and it'll be kind of a girl chat and kind of just, address some things too that people have said. So I hope you guys will enjoy today's episode. Get yourself a little cup of coffee. You guys can see my lipstick is on the side of the coffee here. And this is my lipstick, Natasha Denona, in the shade Kaya. I love this shade so much. So anyway, this show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We all know that mental health is just as important as physical health, but therapy can sometimes feel like a luxury. I get it. Therapy can be a big investment, but it's worth it. Traditional in-person therapy can cost anywhere from $100 to $200 per session, which really adds up. And that is why I love BetterHelp. With BetterHelp Online Therapy, you can save up to 50% per session, and you pay a flat fee for a weekly session, making it affordable and convenient. Whether you're struggling with anxiety, stress, or just need a space to talk about life's ups and downs, therapy can help. Therapy can be incredibly empowering. It can help you build stronger coping skills, set healthier boundaries, and truly take care of yourself. And the best part with BetterHelp, you have access to over 30,000 therapists so you can find someone you really connect with. Your mental health is worth it, and now it's within reach. Visit BetterHelp.com/happyhealthy today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/happyhealthy. Take that first step towards being your best self. I moved to Oklahoma last week, and it's been pretty crazy. I am currently in our house filming with this new studio, and it's a makeshift studio. I literally just kind of made it happen. I don't think this studio will be finalized, so it may have some changes coming up soon. But for now, this works, and we're pretty happy with the way it looks. But yeah, I'm having a baby in 2 months. And I also just moved to Oklahoma. So there's a lot of adjustments happening still. And I don't feel settled yet, but it's also been really, really fun. This has been my first full week here in Oklahoma. And for those that don't know, it's only a 3-hour drive back from Dallas, which is where I'm from. And I honestly am like really happy about this move. I could only have ever dreamt about a house like this, truly. We've talked about this, but like your money does go so much further here in Oklahoma. And so we were able to buy just a very beautiful home. And I'm just so grateful for this. I truly am. I mean, I literally couldn't have done this without you guys and the Lord, truly. And the Lord really did bless us with this home, and there's a lot of rooms to fill, but I know we will. And we're having our baby in this house, not like literally in this house. I'm going to go to the hospital, but we're going to be raising our son in this house. And I'm just so excited. And I love decorating, I love styling, and it does feel a little bit overwhelming because I hate there's nothing more that I hate than buying furniture and it's too small or it doesn't look good or I'm like, "Oh, now I gotta return this or figure out what to do with this." And like I just hate like wasting money. So I'm trying to be very like slow and methodical on what I do. And so currently I'm planning out baby boy's nursery, trying to plan that all out on my Canva app because again, I don't want to buy something and build it only for it not to work or fit or look good. So I'm taking my time. We still have a lot to do. I've only been here a week. And, I think anytime you move somewhere, it is always scary. I remember when I moved to Austin, I cried because I was like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? I'm like moving to this new city and it felt so scary. And it was scary. And then I made friends and I got over it and it was great. And then I moved to LA. I moved back to Dallas and it was scary. And then I moved to LA and it was even more scary. And so, I've had people say like, "Oh, you don't seem happy there." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" I don't know how I've given that perception, but I'm very happy. I love being here. I'm really excited for this new journey, like truly. And I think people, they think that they feel bad for me because I have to like quote unquote start over. But this isn't the first time I've started over. Like I've started over multiple times in my life, and it is also just part of life. It's part of life of picking up and going and trusting the Lord and making new friends and being social and it's really not that scary for me. Now, obviously I'm almost 31. My birthday's in like 2 weeks and obviously no one wants to start over when you're 30, but like I'm not scared and I'm not like, having this like woe is me mentality of like, "Oh, I have to start over." It's encouragement for any of you guys that if you are starting over, the Lord's going to bless that and you can still find friends and there's still amazing people in any place that you go. You just have to kind of make an effort to make friends and reach out and all of that stuff. And so I don't want anyone to think that I'm sad or that I'm not happy here because it is something that was different for me. And yeah, you might have seen me like cry in my YouTube videos or whatever. And that's just because like moving is always a bittersweet thing. Like y'all should have seen me when I moved from LA, bawling my eyes out. And the two feelings can coexist where you can be like, man, I'm going to miss this place. I love this place. It was great. Thankful for the memories, but also know that that chapter needs to end. And that's where I was at is I was in Dallas for 4 years, and to be honest, I felt very, very, very stagnant in my faith. And I just had so many people encourage me moving out of Dallas is going to be so good for you, even if it's for a short time being. I truly wholeheartedly believe this is going to bless our marriage so much. This is going to bless our baby so much. And we love our neighborhood. I love just like that there's pools and there's pickleball around and there's like, there's just so much community aspect. And let me tell you guys, like, even just being in Oklahoma for this last week, people are so unbelievably nice. Like, it's, like, honestly shocking. People have been so helpful and kind and reaching out and giving me recommendations, and, like, people just talk to me here, and I never got that in Dallas. Like, Dallas, I get it, it's gotten very, like, big, and I don't know. I'm from Dallas, so, like, I'm not dogging on it, but the city has 100% changed. People don't talk to you really. Like, I know it's the South, but it doesn't feel like the South. There's some different energy here. Like, I'm at the grocery store and people are like, "Oh my gosh, you're new. You're like, welcome to Oklahoma. Like, check out this restaurant or whatever." Like, everyone is so friendly here. And I've had multiple people that I didn't even know live here that I've known. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, I saw you moved here. Welcome to Oklahoma. Like, let's get coffee. I want to help you." Like, people are so friendly here. Like, this genuinely does feel like the South. And I'm excited. Like, I'm hopeful. Was it hard to leave? 100%. Like, duh. Like, when you're comfortable, I was so comfortable in Dallas. But that's the thing is, comfort is scary because I looked at my life, I looked at myself spiritually, and I was like, I'm not growing here. And yes, I had amazing community. Yes, I had, my parents there, my brother and his family was there, but like I was craving more in life. I was craving more consistency with community, more consistency and just, community with churches. And like I wanted to raise my baby in an area that just felt a little bit more slow paced. And that's Oklahoma. And so I don't want anyone to look at our life or look at what I'm doing and pity me or be like, "Oh my gosh, poor thing. Her husband dragged me there." That's just the furthest thing from the truth. We prayed about this for so long. And my husband would never drag me anywhere. Caleb told me so many times, like, "Babe, if you don't wanna move, I will never make you do something you don't wanna do. I need y'all to know, like, Caleb did not drag me here. I willingly did this. I was so excited every time we came and looked at this house. I was so pumped. I was like, "This feels right." I started to get really excited, and so you can simultaneously, be excited and thankful for the new season while also still being like, "Man, I'm gonna miss my old life, but I'm also ready for something new." Like, I feel like that 4-year gap or that 4-year mark is when you're kind of like, "Okay, I'm settled, I'm good, like, it's time for something new." And maybe you're in that. Maybe you're in that 4-year mark where you're like, "I'm ready for something new, for a change." And maybe that's just like getting a new apartment or trying out a new church or something. Or maybe you feel just stagnant or you're not growing, and that's truly where I felt. I felt like I wasn't growing spiritually, and that's the toughest part for me is I never wanna be stagnant in my faith. And I think there's gonna be seasons where you are stagnant or maybe you don't feel as close to the Lord or maybe you don't feel as, like, drawn towards him. I wouldn't necessarily say that's how I was feeling, but I was just kinda feeling like I wasn't being challenged, I wasn't being pushed, and I wanted something that would push me and challenge me, and this whole season has. Moving to a new state is not easy faith-wise because, yeah, sure, you want your comforts of, like, I want this preference and I wanna move to maybe I wanted to move to Nashville, whatever, which, again, so funny that so many people were like, "I know she's moving to Nashville." Psych, I wasn't. But I just yeah, I wanted to be challenged, and I think that this is gonna do it, and it's not like I'm being super, super stretched here, but it does require me to rely upon the Lord more, and I'm about to be a mom, like, I know that there's a perception again that people are like, "Oh, man, she has to raise this baby all by herself," or whatever. That's just not true. We have so much support here. My family is 3 hours away. My sisters are gonna come visit me, and they've already asked me, like, "When can we come? We wanna come visit you." So, like, I'm not alone. And I also have the Lord. I also have an incredible husband, and so I'm not really that scared. I'm really, really not. And I try to be an optimistic person when I'm naturally not an optimistic person. And that's like a red flag of mine. Like, I am naturally a negative person. I will naturally shift towards what is hard, what's scary, what's the negative aspects of a situation versus like what could go right? What could be the best thing ever? And I think when this move happened, sure, I weighed the pros and cons and I was like, okay, this is different. It's the South, it's slower pace. I am starting over, but I didn't see that as like a reason to not go. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see that as a reason to like, yeah, just be like, no, we're not doing that. Like, I was like, you know what? Let's try it. Like, I was kind of ready for a change. And I wanted a little bit more space in the house, especially raising a baby. And so I don't know. I'm just excited and I do feel really thankful being here. I've already tried new gyms out and new grocery stores and new coffee shops and I'm excited, y'all. Like, I really want you to know that. And even though, like, again, I cried, that was just because I was like, man, I was so thankful for the memories and all the things that God had done in Dallas for me. Because God did do a lot in Dallas for me. I, lived with my best friend. She pushed me in ways that were so unimaginable. I never knew that, living with Maddie would shape my life into the best thing possible as much as it did. And she really made me a better, stronger Christ follower. And I made amazing friends in church and just there were so many amazing things that had happened, but all good things come to an end. And every season eventually needs to shift away. And when again, you start to feel maybe there's a stirring in your spirit of like, is there more? There probably is. And there's probably more that God wants for you, and God wants you to go deeper. And that's what I was feeling. And so I just don't want anyone to think that like I was forced to move here. Like I would that's just ridiculous. Like we willingly did this decision together and we were so excited. And yeah, I'm here now and I love my area. I love my neighborhood. We've already met neighbors. They're so sweet. And I'm just excited to meet this sweet little boy inside of my stomach, my little baby boy. So, I kind of want to talk about pregnancy a little bit because I share a lot online, but I haven't really shared, the rawness of what's been going on. And I'm also 30 weeks pregnant now. And so I think the last time I really shared some updates was a while ago. And so let's talk a little bit about pregnancy and some things that I have been going through and things I've been, feeling as well. It has been so cool. Like, I genuinely am just like, I like look at my body all the time and I'm like, I can't believe I'm literally growing a child. And he kicks a lot, y'all. Like literally, he was kicking already earlier. Now his kicks are getting strong. Like full force, punching my stomach where like I'll literally just feel his foot just like sticking out and I'm like, ah, and I'll like kind of push back and I'm like, get back in there. Um, but it's so cute to me and like I just think it's like the sweetest little thing. Like I know he's active and he's happy in there and I just will say like the body aspect thing, I know so many pregnant women talk about this or just women that have had babies or whatever, like any woman that has gone through this. It's so weird seeing your body change the way that it does. Like stretch marks, your girly girls get massive. Like so many new changes that I was never expecting. And like I didn't know what my body was gonna do. And thankfully, I'm not gonna lie, like I wouldn't say my pregnancy has been like that hard, but I definitely like I have still trouble sleeping. Sleeping is getting definitely way harder. Wearing clothes, shopping for clothes is super weird and just random pains throughout my body. Like my whole pelvic area, like weird pains all the time. Motivation to work out, definitely not there as much. And like going on walks is now really hard for me, which is so weird. Like before when I would go on walks, I'm a runner, I'm a track star. Like I'm booking it down the sidewalk. Oh, you will see me full on waddling, struggling, like, like trying to breathe because walking is so hard now for me. And I'm like, when did this happen? It's just so funny. Um, but like, I definitely have some pains, but like, I wouldn't say that my pregnancy has been that hard. And I'm really, really thankful for that, like, truly. And I've been very, very active as much as I could be active. But it is weird. Like there's this weird constant dichotomy between like, okay, I'm so thankful my body was able to bear a child, that there's a child in here that, hopefully he's healthy. Like we have an anatomy scan next week and I'm praying that everything still looks good and we pray over him all the time. You're just so thankful that like, okay, I can carry a child, but then you also at the same time you're like, "Oh my gosh, like my body is not what it is." And the worst thing that I could do to myself is look at old photos, and I do a lot, and I think that's where, like, I've just gotta, like, let that go. But the reason why I'm sharing this is because I know that most women go through this, where you go through this weird grieving process. Like, I was talking to Maddie just the other day, and she was like, "Dude, it's so weird, like, your body just doesn't look the same, it's so weird." And I think that's the worst thing I can do is I look at myself and I look at old photos and I'm like, "Dang." And it's so easy to wanna just, like, go back to that and just be like, "I just need to get back to that as soon as possible." And I almost feel like that's, like, not a healthy mindset because what we do as women, it's a gift, is we sacrifice for our childs. Like, that is what we do. Like, that's why, like, a mother is so amazing, is like, you literally lay your life down and your body down for your child. When you're nursing, you get stretch marks and it hurts and labor. I mean, all these things, like, it is a sacrifice. And so, in some senses, you have to say goodbye to your old body and be okay with saying goodbye. And I just like look at my old life and I'm like, you know what? I had a very great healthy life. And I'm so thankful for that past body, what that did for me. But I'm also grateful for this body. I'm grateful that this body is able to carry a child and hopefully successfully bring it to term and that it can do that. But of course, like any woman would be lying if you didn't look at yourself or look at old photos and be like, this is so weird. Like, I'll never maybe have that again. And maybe you will. I don't know. Like everyone's body is so different. But that's like why you also really can't compare your journey and your story to someone else's because like there's some women that online they show themselves like bouncing back. They're like, I got my body back. I'm tan. I'm fit, whatever. And some women are like, what the heck? That's not fair. That's her journey, like it also kind of depends on like your pregnancy, but some women aren't even able to work out in their pregnancies. Like, thankfully, I've been able to, but it's really hard. You just cannot compare your journeys. Like, I remember even looking at people that I knew and I'm like, dang, like, she carries so well. And I didn't feel like sometimes I was carrying very well, where I was like, oh man, like, my arms got so big and hers didn't or whatever. You just can't do that. Like, God wired all of us so differently and our bodies so differently. And like, I'm shorter and my torso is shorter. Like, duh, Jeanine, you're going to carry differently. And so, at the same time, like, I'm talking about like, you can have two feelings that coexist at the same time. You can. You can simultaneously be so grateful for your current body and like, wow, I'm carrying life. I'm carrying a child while also being like, dang, I may never look like that again. And like you do have to process that. Like you'd kind of be crazy if you didn't because it is a very strange process that happens and it's just so out of your control. So like it's so weird when I look at my old body, I'm like, wow, I thought I looked bad then, and now I look like this, and I don't know what I'm gonna look like postpartum. And I'm like, "Girl, you're crazy." Like, I look at these photos and I'm like, "Girl, you were crazy. You thought you looked bad." And it's just a reminder to be, like, so grateful for where you are now because there's a future self of you that's looking at a past self wishing, "I wish I didn't take that for granted. I wish I was more grateful. I wish I just thanked my body for this current state that it was in." And I wanna make sure I remain present to do that. Like, even just today, I looked at my belly, I turned to the side, and I was like, "Dang, this thing is growing." Like, I was like, "Holy moly." Like, I don't know. Y'all probably can't see because I'm sitting from the front, but, like, from the side, like, baby boy is like, boo. Like, he's popped. Um, and it's so weird. Like, it's so weird looking at my body and being like, "What is this? Like, what is happening?" But then I literally looked at it and I was like, "Wow, I am growing a child. That's so fire." Like, that's dope. I'm growing a child. And so you just gotta be so grateful and be just thankful. And I think something that I think is a little toxic online that I've noticed quite a bit that I find very frustrating is that you almost feel like you're not able to either complain or have a certain feeling because someone just dismisses you and just is like, "It doesn't matter, you're growing a child, so shut up. Like, you should be grateful, period." And yes, 100%, I completely agree with that. But you're allowed to have feelings. You're allowed to, like, grieve. You're allowed to kinda be like, "Whoa, this is weird," or like, I don't know. I don't like the dismissive just because someone has this doesn't mean that you can complain. I don't like that. Or just because you are growing a baby doesn't mean that you can't talk about how hard it's been or grieving your old body or whatever. Like, I don't like that. I think your feelings should be validated and you shouldn't constantly live in those thoughts. You shouldn't constantly try to ruminate on negativity or whatever. But I still feel like you're allowed to talk about it and be honest because there's so many women that probably feel that way that feel dismissed or like they can't share that because someone's dismissed their feelings of like, nope, you can't talk about it because you're growing a baby. You should just be grateful. And I just don't like that mentality for anything. Now, I'm not saying, yeah, just sit around and complain and whatever, like mope. I'm saying, like, definitely be grateful, but also acknowledge that this is hard. Like, this is a very hard process of looking at your body changing and knowing your life's about to change, and you will never just have you and your spouse ever again. It'll never just be you and your spouse. There's so much processing that goes in this process that you do need to prepare for. And you do have to think about that. You do have to grieve that a little bit. And I think some people will be like, why would you grieve that? Like, girl, get over yourself. No, you do need to, because your life is literally forever about to change. It is no longer just about you. Your life is now a sacrifice. You are sacrificing your body. If you choose to nurse, I've heard that that is just an insane process. And I'm trying to nurse as much as I can. Um, it's something you do have to process. And so I feel like, thankfully, the Lord gave you 9 months, sometimes 10, to fully process that, because there's so much that has to go in on this of like, what products do I buy, and what is postpartum going to be like, and what if I have postpartum depression and hormones, and how's this going to affect your marriage, and what are ways you're going to keep your marriage healthy, and how do I want to raise godly kids, and do I vaccinate, do I not vaccinate? I mean, there's so much to think about, but there's no like perfect way to do it. I think the internet can be so shameful on moms and parenting. And yes, obviously there's like a blatantly like wrong, like, duh, if you're abusing your children and you're just like, you're just fully neglecting your kids, like, that's a different story. We're not talking about that. But when it comes to like parenting styles or choosing things differently, I don't like the mom shame that I see. And it's different if it's advice where someone's like genuinely like, "Hey, I want to give you help because, that's not good for your baby." But sometimes it's just like a preference thing that someone wants to throw out an opinion and you're like, "Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, this is my preference." And so ultimately, like, God entrusted me to this baby. God entrusted you to your future babies, or to your current babies. And I just pray that like you try to let the Lord lead you in that, and that you're going to the Lord on, Lord, how do I parent this baby? What do I do? How do I do this to the best of my ability? And I think that's the best thing you can do is like seek advice from parents that you admire and that you want to parent the way that they do, and ask for advice in the best way you know how to from the people around you, but ultimately trusting that the spirit of God lives inside of you. Like, God's gonna show you what to do as a mom, as a future parent. I think there's so much fear mongering about parenting and shaming people for wanting to have kids, or maybe they had kids 6 months into marriage, and why would you do that? Like, I just don't understand the perspective of like condemning someone or shaming someone for their decisions if it's not blatantly hurting somebody. Like, if someone wants to have a baby 3 months into marriage, or they had a honeymoon baby, like, so be it. That child's a blessing. Like, welcome into the world, versus condemning someone for that? And if someone, again, is not blatantly trying to make poor decisions that would be harming themselves or their child, like, I don't know why so many people have so many opinions. And, I sometimes think things were about how people I know parent or whatever. And I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily do it that way. I wouldn't probably do it that way myself, but I'm not going to go to them and be like, you're an awful parent. That's crazy. Like, I just wouldn't do that. Again, unless I genuinely thought they were like fully abusing their child. Like, that's just cuckoo. But I just feel like there's so much fear mongering around parenting and about being a mom. And I've had several people just ask me, like, how did I know I was ready to be a mom? And they say that you never are actually fully ready. And I wouldn't say that I felt 100% fully ready, because, like, how can you be fully ready for something you've never done before? It's the whole process you're on. Like, it's 9 months of preparing for this, and there's still stuff I want to learn? And so, like, I think it's an ever growing, ever learning process of being a mom, being a parent, knowing when the time is right. But sometimes I feel like you've just got to jump in feet first. And I'm just someone who trusts the Lord so much with my life. And even though it may be scary, it may be not perfect, it may not flesh out perfectly, I'm like, I'm going to do this because I don't want to lose this chance. And I didn't know. I didn't know if I had fertility issues. I didn't know if I would get, pregnant on the first try or 6 months later. I didn't know. And thankfully, like, I am so, so grateful. It didn't take us long to get pregnant. And so I just was like, all right, we're doing this. Like, we're pregnant. Let's go. And so I didn't exactly know, but I knew that I had a piece to start trying. I knew that I had a shift in my heart when I looked at baby clothes and I looked at other babies and I don't know, my friends were all pregnant and I was just like, "You know what? I want to do this. Like, why am I waiting? Why am I so scared?" And I'm also going to be 31 in 2 weeks. Like 31 is not necessarily like uber young. Like in some states they might be like, "Girl, why didn't you wait till you were 37?" And then in the southern states they might be like, "You should have had babies when you were 25." It's so relative to where you live, and that's why you just cannot compare your life, your timeline to anyone else's or any other thing that you see online because it is so subjective, it is so relative, it is personalized to you and your spouse and between you and God. And I've talked about that in my book over and over and over because I just think it is so unhelpful to compare your life to anyone else's, your timeline, what you're supposed to do to anyone else's because there's just no perfect timing for anybody. Like my timeline is not the same as my best friends or my sisters or my cousins or whomever. Like it was between me and Caleb and the Lord. And people have all sorts of perceptions on why I got pregnant. I'm doing this because my friends and I copied so and so and I'm just like, first of all, having a baby is not original. Like people have been doing this for thousands of years. Like, you know what I mean? Like if someone wants to have a baby, let them have a baby. And never make a decision based off of someone else. Never make a life-altering decision based off of someone else. Feel peace about it. And I've prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I said, "God, if you want me to have a baby, show me." And I was having dreams about babies and I was feeling more tender towards it. And I just knew God was showing me like, "Go, Jeanine. Like it's the time. Do this." And so that's between you and the Lord. I want you to pray and ask the Lord to reveal to you, "God, search my heart, change me, search my heart and show me if I have some sort of negative perception about parenting or motherhood, or maybe there's a toxic mentality that's been pushed in me from social media that I need to remove, you know? Like I had some toxic ones. I had ones where I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'll never travel again. My life is over. My body will never be the same." And sure, some of those things might be true, but it's all about perspective. I have a podcast coming soon with Tori Masters about motherhood, and I'm not sure when that's going to be posted, but she really encouraged me in that podcast so much. And my best friend Riley just had a baby, and I'm like, "Dude, you're so positive. How are you doing this?" She was like, "It's about perspective, Jeanine." She's like, "I could look at these night feeds and I could look at this baby crying as a curse and I could complain, or I could see this as a blessing and how I can worship. I can pray over my baby and I could use these moments to bond with her and pray over her." And I was like, I love that. I wish that was more the message than only showing the hard moments. And yes, you do need to see the hard moments because they need to prepare you. They need to show you the realities. They need to kind of give you an understanding of like, okay, this is what you're signing up for, but it's not all bad. And just so many of my friends that have had babies, they're like, "Yes, it's hard, but it's the best thing you'll ever do." Those are the messages I want to keep hearing. Even when it comes to labor, there's so much fear mongering about unmedicated births. And I haven't decided exactly what I want to do yet, but like there's so much fear mongering of like, it's hard and it's going to be painful. And yes, it will be painful. But there's so many women that have done this for thousands of years. Like, you know, it just depends on what information you are taking in because that will be the narrative that you tell yourself. Is if you are only taking in negativity and fear mongering and women that are promoting certain like lifestyles that don't align with what the Bible says or maybe what you believe, sure, you're going to start believing that because the Bible says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." So if you continue to perpetually feed yourself that or intake these things, the Bible also says, "Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks." But the heart is the wellspring of your life. And so, like, what you're feeding your heart, what information you're flowing in, what you input is what you output. So, you have to be so careful to not input toxic things or things that don't align with you or things that you fully believe in because you will live that out. And so, it's very, very easy to kind of look at everything as only negative and scary. But is your God not bigger than all of that? Like, is your God not on your side? Do you have a spouse that loves you? I hope you do. That is your partner and that's going to do this with you. Like, if the answer is yes, then you've got this. You have got this. Like, don't live in fear any longer. And of course, feel peace and feel ready when you feel ready. But like, don't let the world and society and social media scare you out of something that could be the biggest blessing of your life. And every time I see, the women that I follow, they're like, man, this is the biggest blessing of my life. I would never go back. Yes, it's hard, but it's such a blessing. I love my children. And so I'm excited for that. Like, I'm really, really excited. And it's going to be so new. It's going to be an adjustment. Of course, I'm going to be sharing that journey with you guys. And I don't want to like sugarcoat the moments of like it being hard, but I also want people to hear that this is joyful and this is beautiful. And it is something that like God has prepared us women to do. Our bodies were created to do this. So, like, let's do it. When you feel peace and you've prayed about it and you and your partner feel aligned, go for it. But I don't want you to like miss out on a moment because you're waiting for everything to be perfect and right, because I don't think that ever will be perfectly right. Like, I moved when I was pregnant, and anyone could say on the outside looking in, like, why would you move when you're 7 months pregnant? We wanted to. And it felt right, and we were able to do it, and it's been great, and, like, I have no regrets. So, there's never, like, the quote, unquote, "perfect timing." Of course, there might be some circumstances you may wanna get fleshed out. Maybe you're still going through a very, very stressful job or whatever. I don't know. You know what that is for you, but I don't want fear to stop you and prevent you from doing things that you've always wanted to do. Or maybe you haven't wanted to do this and you're still scared. I say pray about it and ask the Lord to change your heart. And then you go full of faith. That's what faith is. It's trusting in what you can't see and believing like, God, you're bigger than this. And you've led thousands and millions of women through this before. So if they can do it, so can I. Let's go, moms. Okay. The last thing I actually want to talk about, and I hope this encourages someone out there because I get people that ask me about this all the time. So, as you guys know, like, I'm quote unquote starting over in a city. And I'm not really, like, I have my sister-in-law's here. My husband's cousin's wife, love her. She's Brazilian. We just click so well. Like, literally, we're so similar. Um, and I do know people here, but in a lot of ways, I am starting over. And so maybe you're in that situation where you're starting over. You've moved to a city, or you moved because your husband's job or school or whatever. Or maybe you've just are like, you know what? I want to pick up and leave. Like, I want to start over. I want to try a new city. And maybe you're just in the same situation as I am where, it's a little scary and you don't necessarily know who to call and whatever. Um, I just feel like, again, like I've talked in the beginning, like I've done this before. And so here's kind of like my advice on doing that. And again, how it is such a perspective shift, because you can come from this with the perspective of like, this is so hard and I have to start over and woe is me. And it's gonna take time. But I've done this before. And my best recommendation, again, this is a Christian podcast, but like, even if you're not a Christian, I encourage you, go to a church and just say, hey, I'm new to the city. I don't know what to do. I don't know anybody. Can you help connect me? The church is literally meant for that. They're meant to connect with you and help you meet people and get you plugged in and make you feel less alone. Like, that's what the body of Christ is for, is to help believers have a network of people where you feel safe and trusted. And so that's like my first goal is, okay, who do I know here? And maybe you don't know a single soul, but who do I know here? And I'm going to reach out to them and say, hey, let's get coffee. I'm getting coffee with a girl this Friday. And then I had literally like the craziest God story last week. And this is something I want you to pray about. When you move to a new city, or when you are quote unquote starting over, pray before you go that God is going to prepare the way for you and open doors for you and go before you. That like already God has people prepared for you. He already has a church prepared for you. He already has whatever, maybe a spouse for you. Maybe you're moving by yourself. You just keep praying. That was my constant prayers. Like, God, I pray that you have people already waiting to be friends with me there, or someone that I already know or whatever. I just kept praying over and over and over. And there was a verse I found that it's in my journal. I can't really remember what it was, but it was basically about how God went before the people and prepared a way for them. And so that was my prayer. I was like, yes and amen, Lord. I want that to be your prayer too. But I was at the grocery store, and it was my first time at the grocery store. It was my first Monday here. And our refrigerator had literally nothing in it. And I'm by the dairy section. I'm literally listening worship music. Like, I had my AirPods in, and This girl comes up to me and I see her in my peripherals and I'm like, oh my gosh, why is this girl getting so close to me? And she's literally flabbergasted. She's like, oh, and I look and I'm like, Allie? And she's like, Jeanine? And this girl is the girl that got me into my Bible study in LA and the Bible study that literally changed my life. If you've read my book, you know part of the story. She introduced me to this mentor, Casey. I was at this church. She had a women's Bible study that started off very small, grew to over 40 people because of how many people needed community. This was the girl that invited me to her Bible study. And that was when I didn't know anybody. I was literally maybe in LA for like, I don't know, 4 months. And I had also at that time prayed, God, I need friends, bring me friends. This was that girl. And we were like, oh my gosh. I was like, what are you doing here? She's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, I literally moved here last week. She was like, I moved here. She's from Oklahoma. She's married. She's like, we need to get coffee. And I was like, yes, please. Those are the situations where it's like a God moment where you're like, God, you see me. You know my desires. You know what I need before I even need it. That to me is what I call the God wink. And I told Maddie about that. She was like, that's a God wink. And I was like, that's exactly what I said, a God wink moment. And so be praying for that. Be very intentional. But maybe you don't get that. Be praying for God to direct you to the right church or the right people at the gym or whatever. Like even just here, like I said, people are so friendly. I already had people talk to me at the gym and be like, hey, if you need any recommendations, let me know. Like, be willing to just be kind and say hi and ask for recommendations. And don't be scared to step out of your bubble or your comfort zone or be shy. Like, just be able to be like, hi, I don't know what I'm doing here. Do you have recommendations for coffee shops or gyms or whatever? Like, let people help you and know, like, this is going to take time because I've done this before. I know that this is going to take time. And there's going to be hard moments where you're going to feel maybe lonely or scared or you're lying awake at night and you're like, did I make a mistake or whatever? It's all part of the process. So don't be afraid of that feeling. Lean into it, trust the Lord, and remember that God is with you. Like God says in Joshua 1:9, like, for have I not commanded you to not be afraid? For the Lord your God is with you, and I will be with you wherever you go. You cling to the truth, you cling to those verses, and know like God is with you. And I'm excited. Like, it's kind of exciting. I'm like, okay, God, who am I going to meet here? Like, maybe Caleb and I meet this insane mentorship couple that pours into our relationship. Or maybe we meet some best friends here, or we meet an awesome community at church. Like, stay optimistic, stay open-handed with the Lord. Like, God, you could do anything here. But no, it's going to take time, but it's also going to take you working with the Lord and partnering. God's not going to drop a friend through your chimney or have someone come knock at your front door. Maybe he will, I don't know. But it's going to require you to leave your house, try new things, say yes, and be bold. And so, no, like I'm doing this with you. I'm trying new gyms and all these things, but it's also like kind of fun. Like it's like different. It's like, oh, this is kind of fun. I've never been here before. What's around this corner? What's around this block? Like it's all about how you look at it. And so I want you to stay optimistic and positive and know like, maybe I find my best friend here. Maybe I find someone I didn't know I needed to meet here that is going to change my life. And there's certain people for certain seasons. There's certain things for certain seasons. God uses, someone for maybe a certain season to grow you, but he's like, okay, now we've elevated you. We've promoted you to the next season. Let's go. So I just want us to be optimistic and be encouraged that like all good things take time. Nothing overnight, you don't snap your finger and it just magically works. If it does for you, that's amazing, but it doesn't work that way for like most people like myself. It takes time, it takes faith, it takes prayer, it takes relying on the Lord. And so anything you do, rely on the Lord. God, help me. I'm with you, God. I need you. And I'm not doing this alone, Lord. I need you to go with me and walk alongside me. And when you seek the Lord, like he blesses people that seek him and fervently go after him and that say, God, I'm willing to be used. Like I'm scared and I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Truly, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know that I have you. And if I have you, then I have everything. And if I don't have you, then I have nothing. And that's all that matters is you have God on your side, which means you have everything. You are blessed. And so consider yourself blessed. And so that's my encouragement to you. If you're moving to a new city the way that I am, anything could happen. That should excite you is that you say yes. Like I wrote in my book in the adventure chapter, Say yes. If someone invites you somewhere, yep, I'm going. If someone invites you to a new gym, yes, let's try it. If someone wants you to go on golfing, I've never done golfing before, but you know what? I'm going to try it. Say yes, because you never know what your yes is going to lead to. And so that is my soapbox and my encouragement. I'm excited to be here. It's fun. It's definitely different. It's slower pace. This is not Dallas, but I'm really excited to raise our little baby boy here and our son and just see the way that this also blesses my marriage. I'm super pumped. And Caleb is so happy here. I love seeing my husband happy. And honestly, like, I'm kind of sick of the perception of people saying like, "Oh, her husband seems so happy there and you don't seem happy." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, I am so happy. I love being in this house. Like, this house is like such a fun project for me, and I'm working so much and I'm still writing my devotional. Like, I'm so happy and I love my husband's family. I love my in-laws. That's been such a blessing, is that I have such an amazing family that I married into that has been nothing but amazing and kind to me and accepting, and like, they're all gonna help us with the baby. Like, truly, y'all, I would not have that much help in Dallas with the baby. I would not. And here, it just feels like the right fit. There felt like the right timing. And so I just really, I don't want anyone to have this like negative perception on like, oh, her husband forced her to move there and she's gonna be all alone. Nope, not the truth. Shutting that down right now, because that's just not true. We both felt peace, and I still feel so excited to be here. So anyway, I've been on some tangents, and I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. Kind of just like a little girly chat and ramble, but hopefully you guys got some nuggets of truth and encouragement in here, because, I'm in a transition season, and maybe you're in a transition season. We're in this new house and I'm having a baby in 2 months. So there's a lot of like new. So bear with me. But I'm very hopeful. And even if I have moments that are hard or fearful or whatever, like, I know God is good and God's on my side. And um I can simultaneously, again, have some fear and have some, maybe this is hard, but also I'm excited and I'm hopeful. And I hope that's where you can be too. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on today's episode of Happy and Healthy. And I will see you guys next week. But until then, stay happy and healthy. Bye, guys.